I like tech. I'm a computer science major after all. Someone who wants to be a developer should obviously like technology. But the tech industry really frustrates me to no end. And you know what frustrates me even more? Tech reviewers. They're not bad people by any means, but they only use things for a maximum of the period during which they will be the most functional. They're aware of the fact that most people keep tech products for much longer, but don't necessarily get the chance to test the products in the same way. They rarely ask for other people's perspectives as well. It'd seem like the amount of reviewers out there would offer the most diverse perspectives, but they're pretty much all the same. Affluent techie guys with smart homes. For example, I'm autistic. No one ever talks about the texture of tech products. There are some textures that I really just don't vibe with holding, and if I don't know about it before I buy something, I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to it. But that's not a big deal. It's very rare people talk about the accessibility of products for disabled people. And then there's... Here, picture this with me.
What is up, guys? It's me from Maximilian92 Technology, and I talk like this all the time, and then I wonder why people get annoyed watching my videos. I've been using this product for about 12 seconds now, and it's the best thing on the planet. Thank you for watching. Make sure you sub, like, and comment, scribe, and I will see you in the next one.
All right, Jake. Jake, what's up next? All right. I think I got it. 3, 2, 1, action.
Hey guys, I'm Mr. Who's the Verge HD, and this is...
Okay, we get it! Fine! You see what I'm getting at? Most of the time, they use these products for like a month max, and the only workflow they actually know how to test is their own. Sure, there's the 6-month reviews channel, but I find that even they're testing multiple things at once and don't give the full story. Plus, by the time they actually review the thing, it matters way less because it's been 6 months since it came out. And sure, there were some Max Tech and Snazzy Labs videos comparing other workflows, but they mostly just show off some nebulous graphs. Here, let me just... The Google Pixel Buds were a tech product that got pretty little coverage when they first came out. Then people stopped caring and they got no coverage ever again. This was back when I was still enveloped in the idea of using the correct technology rather than what I just happened to like, so I was still an Android purist. Not to say that I dislike Android now. I mean, I still honestly prefer it over iOS. I just use iOS because I had a Pixel 4, so the Pixel Buds seemed like the obvious choice of earbuds. I hadn't met my audiophile fiance at the time, so I wasn't well versed in the world of headphones or audio quality. So I thought they were fine. The sound quality was alright. Nowadays I go back to them and wonder how I ever survived on that, but that's not the point. These earbuds frustrated me to no end. The Bluetooth in them was absolutely awful, worse than any other Bluetooth connection I've ever used. They would just barely work if you had your phone in your pocket with them on, but the second I put a mask on, they would just die. They could not process what happened the second the mask entered my face's vicinity, and they would just disconnect from my phone and refuse to exist anymore. I can't even fathom why this happened. Unless they were sending the Bluetooth signal through my face rather than out the side of the earbuds, which was not covered or blocked, the mask wasn't blocking them at all. But sure, no using them on the bus. I guess I'll just use them at home. That's where the other issue cropped up. Extremely frequently, they would lose connection for a split second and pick it back up. But when they picked it back up, one of them would try to sync with the other, totally fail, and then each bud would play the music entirely out of sync. I was hearing it like a millisecond ahead in one ear from the other. Trust me, it sounds really bad. And I couldn't fix it by taking them out and putting them back in. No, I had to put them back in the case so that they would entirely disconnect and then reconnect them. And then they'd probably just do it again anyway. Also, the sound quality kind of sucked. It's all mids. Squarely into the era where I finally allowed myself to just use what I like rather than having to be an Apple hater and an Android and Windows user. I was primarily motivated by the fact that my desktop OS of choice is macOS. It blends the developer friendliness of a Unix-like with the user friendliness of a popular operating system. Not to mention it fits beautifully into the Apple ecosystem, which I am now squarely within. I would have hated myself for this years ago, but at this point I kinda don't care. I like how it works and I hate Windows. Sue me. My desktop at home runs Linux, so you can't get mad at me. Right. AirPods Max, Apple's over-ear wireless headphones. You can probably see from the wear and tear on them that they have seen a lot of use since I got them. I think they're great, and I agree with most of what reviewers said about them. The sound quality is wonderful, if not pretty bass-heavy. They are the single most comfortable pair of headphones I have ever worn. Really, they're not as heavy as everyone said. The active noise canceling is absolute magic. I'd never used ANC headphones before these, and it's incredible for bus rides. The green color is not ugly, stop bullying it. The case sucks, but not for the reasons MKBHD said. I'll get to that later. They slot perfectly into Apple's ecosystem and do their magic. Sometimes. But that's the stuff you already know. As you can tell, I still really love these headphones. But it's time to complain now. You know the Apple magic they're supposed to do? It doesn't even work half the time. I can't count the amount of times I've had to restart them multiple times just to get them to play sound. I've had to entirely delete them from my iCloud account and re-add them just to get them to work. They've changed my ANC button settings, I like it to cycle with off too, multiple times to remove the off option. The head detection, which is supposed to turn them on whenever you put them on and stop them whenever you take them off, is super overactive. It's the main proponent of these issues. If you even adjust these headphones slightly, the head detection goes haywire and makes a really loud sound in your ears. If you hear that, you're done for. Nothing you can do will fix them. You have to restart them. They will never connect to anything ever again. You can mash them on the AirPlay menu all you want. Your phone will just play the audio from its own speakers. But okay, they're Bluetooth headphones, whatever. Connection issues should be par for the course at this point. But what about that case? Marquez hates this thing, but he hates it because it looks dumb and because it's required to turn them off or whatever.
I know they don't actually turn off.
I don't care what it looks like, I use it because it's supposed to work. There's the magnets in it that are supposed to disconnect the headphones. The problem is that half the time that doesn't even work! So many times I've taken them off being done with them. I put them in the case, expecting them to turn off, and the battery indicator does not go away from any of my devices. If they're truly disconnected, my devices should not know how much charge they have. The problem is that they actually don't. The headphones are in some weird pseudo-connected mode where they think they're off, so they're not transmitting data, but they are still connected. So I take them out of the case later. My devices say they have 50%, an indicator which has not gone away since I took them off yesterday, and I turn them on. They officially connect, the battery indicators update, and they have like 10% because they were on and connected in the case the whole time. This happens like half the time I try to put them in the case. Half the time the battery indicators go away and they are disconnected. But when they stay connected, I can't get them to turn off just by taking them out and putting them back in. It doesn't work. If they want to stay on, they're gonna be set on staying on. I just have to deal with them wanting to die. Reviewers said the battery life was pretty good. I wouldn't know because they always drain themselves half to death when I think they're not. Quinn of Snazzy Labs claimed his only dropped 3% or whatever overnight without even using the case. Good for you, Quinn. This is the last Intel-based device that Apple ever released. I grabbed it specifically because I knew about Apple's transition to ARM, and I was wary about the new ARM architecture because I'm a developer. Of course, this was before M1 Max. This was apparently the MacBook to fix the problems of the previous 15-inch MacBook Pro. Rejoice, the thermals are great now. If only. This thing has the worst thermals known to humankind, and the 100 watt-hour battery might as well be 2000 milliamp hours. This laptop that I have has a discrete AMD Radeon GPU. Radeon Pro 5500M to be precise. I got it with that because I sometimes do graphic-intensive tasks, like gaming. Gaming on Mac is possible, sue me. But even when I'm not gaming or whatever, this thing is a riot. An issue that apparently no one talked about regarding this device is that the second you plug it into an external monitor, the discrete GPU ramps up its idle power consumption to nearly 20 watts consistently, while the laptop is doing nothing. In fact, with my monitor, it's pushing even less pixels than its built-in display. And I'm not talking about using it with two monitors. I mean, plug it in, close it, and use an external keyboard and mouse to turn it into a little desktop. And this thing's thermals go nuts. It regularly sits around 60 to 70 degrees Celsius idle doing absolutely nothing. And the second it does anything, not even something intensive, it can get up into the 80s and 90s. I'm genuinely kind of worried about it damaging itself, so I bought a laptop fan for it. And it doesn't help! But okay, so I'll just use it as a laptop. The battery's the biggest you're legally allowed to take on an airplane, like anyone cares about airplanes anymore. I think it was Dieter Bohn from The Verge who reviewed this thing. When he was answering some viewer questions, one of the things he mentioned was that it no longer drains the battery while plugged into the power adapter that came in the box. That's a 96-watt power adapter. And that's an entire lie! Regularly, I will be plugged straight into the wall while editing one of these videos. In iMovie, no less. And it'll be consistently draining battery as though it's not even plugged in. The only difference is that it's a lot slower and it's way hotter. And don't even get me started on when it's not plugged in. This thing's battery barely lasts me an hour and a half doing basically nothing. And the problem is that this is never going to be fixed. Apple already fixed it. They came out with their shiny new 16-inch MacBook Pro with their ARM chips, and they're wonderful and incredible and have great thermals and infinite battery life and don't slow down like this one does and whatever. But that's a different laptop. That's not mine. That's not the one I'm stuck with until I can scrounge up the money to upgrade. Apple's done with Intel. They won't save me now. The whole point of tech reviewers is so that people can watch their videos and get an idea of whether they should buy a product or not. But the tech reviewers who will get noticed are the big name ones. The ones who are so disconnected from the reality of tech at this point that they've become entirely unreliable. I still watch their videos because I like and care about tech, but they will never tell you the full story. Maybe it's planned obsolescence. Maybe it's reviewers not telling the full story because they don't use the devices for long enough before the next one comes out and they switch to it. Or maybe it's just that I have really bad luck with tech and I always get the broken ones. Look at what my microphone does while I'm trying to record. Every time it disconnects like that, Audacity freaks out and blows up and my only option is to restart the whole program. I don't want to think about this anymore. I'm getting myself too worked up. Plus, this is only my perspective. I can't speak from the point of view of a ton of different people who might have completely different complaints with these products. But like all the reviewers say, I review what I have in my paws. And well, what I have is not what they have. What I have is an inevitable product of capitalism. In a system where products are made only to rake in as much money as possible for the next giant mega corporation.